We got some pictures today. It's crooked. Yeah, he's right.
Just put your head in the sun.
Is that better?
Is it better?
Yeah.
All right. Where are we holding? Okay. Hit live. Let's go.
Wow.
Oh, we are live. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Good morning. Daf Lamed Gimel. 2 lines down. V'omer Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel Ksova al Shnei Dapin Psulo. If you wrote the mezuzah on 2 columns, according to Rashi, it's on 1 piece of parchment, but it has 2 columns. It's possible. Tosfos learns that it's literally 2 pieces of parchment. He wrote 1 parish on 1 piece of parchment, the other parish on the 2nd piece of parchment. Meisvei. Ksova shnei dapin v'nicho b'shnei sifin psulo. It says that the only time it's possible is if you write it in 2 columns, let's say according to Rashi, but you put it in 2 separate places. You put it across the doorway. One side, one post has 1 part, or maybe if you want to understand Rashi a little better, it's, let's say the post itself, you put it in the thickness of the post. So the post is, let's say, 6 inches wide. You put one half of the mezuzah on inch number 1 and the other half of the mezuzah on inch number 6. Obviously, you can't spread it across the doorway. That would be impossible. According to Tosfos, you could spread it across the doorway. You put 1 on the right side of the doorway, 1 on the left side of the doorway. According to Rashi, they're attached. It's 1 piece of cloth. It's just 2. So he probably opens it up. He puts the parish of Shema. I'm not getting up here to show you, but I'll put it. Let's say this is the door goes like this, right? So this is the thickness. He puts 1 part over here and 1 part over here. That would be a simple way of understanding it. Akoponim, it's mashma that if you put it on 2 parts of the door, it's possible, but if you put it on 1 part of the door, even though it's 2 columns, the mezuzah is kosher. Says the Gemara, no. It means even if you put it on 1 part of the door, but since it's written in 2 columns, it's still possible. Bottom line is, according to Tosfos, it would come out lahalacha that if you write a mezuzah on 1 piece of parchment but 2 columns, then it's kosher. According to Rashi, it's possible. V'omer Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel b'mezuzah halech achar heker tzir. What's going on here? He says that when it comes to mezuzah, you go by the hinge of the door. The halacha is as follows. When you have a door, a simple door to your house, let's say, going into your house, there's no shiloh where the mezuzah has to be. It has to be as you're walking into the door on the right side. Why? As we're going to see soon, that's the first thing you meet, is the right side of the door. You put it on the right side of the door. Where's the question? The question is when we have a doorway where we don't know if it's an entrance or an exit. Such as, let's say you own an apartment, you live on the 2nd floor, you own an apartment. Then you got a Yerusha, you bought the apartment next to you. So now you have 2 apartments next to each other. The 2 front doors are obviously, both the mezuzahs are going to be on the right side. But you went ahead, you wanted to combine the 2 apartments, you opened up a doorway in between. Now what's that doorway? You go from apartment A to apartment B, you could also go from B to A. So is the doorway an entrance or, we don't know. So what do? Where do you put the mezuzah? Says the Gemara, you go by the hinge. Let's go weiter, we'll understand a little bit more. Omer Rav Ada, my heker tzir, what is this? Omer Rav Ada avakta. So in those days, they used to have a hinge called an avakta. And the Gemara explains, Heichidomi, ki goin pischod bein trei botei, bein begaver lebein noshe. Similar to my example, not 100%, but you have in his house. So in America they have it a lot. Let's say you don't want your wife when she's cooking, you don't want the guests to see her, so you have like a door to the kitchen. You lock. That's bein noshe. The women can do their job without the men who are in the living room, dining room area to see them. That door, what is it? It's an entrance or an exit. So this avakto, You probably saw it in antique houses and whatever. It's the hinge. I took these pictures from the Art Scroll and from Mesifta. I own both. I just enlarged it so the oilam could see. It's not a hinge like we have today. It's a hinge on the top, like a pin that goes into the bottom. You see in the bottom of the door also. It was also occasionally on this side of the door. Over here it shows it's on top, literally on the width of the door itself. Akol Panim, what the Gemara is saying is that depending on where, in this picture you see that the hinge is inside. They put it inside. That means that in this picture, this is the inside of the house, this would be the entrance, you would have to put the mezuzah on the right side, right over here. Because this area versus behind the page, this is considered the room, and you're going into the room this way. Because you base it on the hinge. You look at where the hinge is. Since the hinge, where do you usually put a hinge? You don't put your hinge on the outside of your house. You want to protect your hinge, right? From the elements or whatever. So you put your hinge inside. So wherever the hinge is, that will show me that's the inside. And memela, when you open up the door, again, it doesn't matter if you open the door right or left, you put the mezuzah on the right side going into where the hinge is.
Is it the same way?
Oh, here, I have another picture. Sorry, this makes it a little bit easier. Here you have two entrances. These entrances are 100% pashat that you put it on the right side of the door. The question is the middle door. We don't know if it's an entrance or an exit. So since the hinge is on over here in this room, so this room is considered where you're going into, and maybe you put it on the right side over here, going into this room. Very pashat.
Is it the same as saying which way the door opens?
No, because you could have this exact hinge on this side. What's the difference? If you could flip the door this way and the hinge is still inside, you still put the mezuzah on the right side. Right? It's not 100% that you're going to put the door over here just for the picture purpose. They didn't want to put the hinge and the mezuzah on the same side maybe. But it has to do where the hinge is, not where the door is swinging open to. How the door is swinging open to. Basically, it's swinging.
I'm saying that it's the same thing, but usually the hinge is in where the hinge is where the door opens it.
Yeah, but what if you switched it? What if you put the hinge on the right side? It wouldn't make enough kamina la'alacha. You still have to put the mezuzah on the right side. He's asking, what if you put the hinge where it says mezuzah in this picture? What if you put the hinge there? The door still opens into the same room. I'm saying you'd still put the mezuzah on the right side because the hinge is inside. Zog the Gemara, Reish Gelusa, Bana Beisa. The Reish Gelusa in those days, the Reish Golus was a very chashuv person. It's like in between, like more chashuv than a mayor, a little bit less chashuv than a king, but he had a lot of power. He could punish people, and he was a chashuv person. Omer Rav Nachman, he needed to put a mezuzah. Who do you call if you need to put a mezuzah? You call Rav's Rebbe. You call the Goladar. Summons him. I need a mezuzah. Kvali mezuzah. Omalei, Toli Dasha Bereisha. There's three ways to learn the Gemara. According to Rashi, it's interesting. It's difficult to understand Rashi, but basically he's telling him, well, you need to put up your doorpost first. You can't put a mezuzah without a doorpost. Why not? According to Rashi, it's a sugya later on, because tasif leimin asui, like we had in Sukkah. If you have a pile of grain, and so you already have your schach, and you dig out, and you make a sukkah, it's possible because your schach came before you even had the walls. Or like we learned, Rashi brings down from tzitzis. If you have a beggar that only has 3 corners, and you put on tzitzis on 3 corners, then with a scissors you cut some of the beggar, now you obviously have 4 corners, you develop the 4th corner, when you already had tzitzis on the beggar, that's possible. So you can't put your mezuzah in a doorpost before you hang your door. It's tasif leimin asui. So Tosfos has a kasha. I mean, we're going to see today, later on, the sugi of tasif leimin asui. So it's on Amud Beis. Why did Rashi jump the gun? Why did the Gemara all of a sudden bring this case where there's no shaykhs? So, different pshatim. Tosfos learns that there was actually a doorpost. There's a doorpost. Just the question is, where's the door? Tosfos learning it. It's very nice according to Tosfos. It has to do with the sugi that we just learned. That we just learned that it depends where the hinge is. Oh, so Rav Nachman said, I don't know where to put. It was a type of door in the Reish Golus' house that we didn't know which way is it an exit or an entrance. So Rav Nachman said, first put up your door. Let me see where the hinge will be. Once I know where the hinge is, then I'll know where to put the mezuzah. But it wasn't a shayla of Tasav Eloi Menachos. Rabbi said, let me just take this opportunity for a second. Last night, my good friend Moshe Ehrenfeld called me up. He said he wants to come to this shir. Not exactly sure why. He wants to learn English, maybe. Who knows? But I do want to take this opportunity as a lesson and a hakaras hatov, because, and it's very interesting that in the English date it comes out exactly 7 months ago. We started this year February 12th. Today's September 12th. That's in English. But in Hebrew, Chof Hei Shvat, we were standing outside a shul as we usually do, and a bunch of us were sitting and schmoozing. Reuven, were you there, Reuven? Reuven was there. Noam, Ari Gruen, and Chaim. He's not here today, but his father's there. And we're just schmoozing, and all of a sudden, Moshe Ehrenfeld says, "I think you should say a shir in English." And we said, "Okay, let's do it." But we can't do it tomorrow. We don't have a place, and I wasn't prepared yet. We'll do it on Monday. So we started 2 days later. But a lesson of if you have a good opportunity, jump at it right away. Don't push it off, and that's what we did. Baruch Hashem, we did together over 200 daf, about 210 daf. So tremendous hakaras hatov to Moshe Ehrenfeld. Shkoyach. I'll go upon him. Omer Rav Yehuda Omer Rav. Asa kemin neger psula. If you put your mezuzah laying down like a screw, you put it into the wall horizontally, into the door. You drill a hole in the doorpost and put it in, laying down. It's possible. When Rav Yitzchak Bar Yosef came to Bavel from Eretz Yisrael, he said, "Kulam mezuzah de Rebbe kimeneger hava avidon." He said that most of the mezuzahs, all the mezuzahs by Rebbe, were all like a boat. They're all laying down. And another thing he said, "Vaypischo da'il bei Rebbe lebei midrasho lehavali mezuzah." Rebbe had a special door. Rashi says Rebbe didn't want to trouble all the people in the Beis Medrash. You know those Rosh that walk in and they walk real slow and they make sure that everybody gets up and they point. Well, I knew Rebbe had it fakert. He had a little door where you would sneak in, so nobody had to stand up for him. Coming to the Beis Medrash, and that door did not have a mezuzah. Akaponim, you see that Rebbe had his mezuzah horizontally into the doorpost. Yeah? Not on the doorpost horizontally, but into the doorpost. Like somebody would take a screw and screw it into the doorpost.
This picture.
Yeah. If you all have it Rashi, some have it better, some have it worse. But you could see there's a nice arched doorway, and the top one is keneger. It goes into the doorpost. Zog the Gemara like Hashi. Hodavido kesikta. The thing that we were talking about that's possible is like a sikah in Hebrew, like a pin, like a peg going inwards. That's possible. Hodavido kistaviro. Istaviro is the ankle in English. So the pshat that people seem to get along with is the second pshat in Rashi, that the ankle is like an L. You have your leg and then you have your foot. The ankle is an L shape, so you put like an L shape on the doorpost. That's one pshat. That's a little bit of a problem because it's not so covered either.
How do you do it physically?
You bend the mezuzah a little bit. Yeah, you bend it in half. What's interesting is, if you ever noticed that our mezuzahs, most of ours besides mine, are on an angle. You ever wonder why your mezuzah is like this? And the side is right here in the sugya. You have it's a pshara. Rashi says that your mezuzah is supposed to be standing up straight like this. And Rebbe had his mezuzahs laying down like this. The question was how most people did it. Rashi held that most people had their mezuzah straight up. Rabbi Tam says no, putting a mezuzah like this is not kovadik. Who puts a mezuzah like this? It's like this is how you bury a donkey, he says. So how do you put a mezuzah? You put it nice, laying down, flat, like the aron. in the Beis Hamikdash, the Sefer Torah was lying down. It's enough communal halacha also today. So what do? We do a pshar between Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam, and you go on an angle. The Goyin paskins like Rashi, and you go straight, just like he paskins on tefillin, that you wear Rashi tefillin. So what? Sfardim wants to go straight? Fine. What about a Sefer Torah in the Aron Kodesh? It's also Shaila between Rabbeinu Tam and Rashi. According to Rabbeinu Tam, the Sefer Torah should be laying down. So that's why I think some people put the Sefer Torah like leaning on the wall. We don't notice. We think, it's leaning on the wall, so it shouldn't fall down. But it's leaning on the wall as a pshara between Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam.
So when you say it's lying down, I mean, if it's lying this way, or if you want to go straight into the door, like the whole.
No, so what I'm talking about is laying on the doorpost, that you could see it, like we have it straight up, just laying down. Into the doorpost is possible. That we said is possible. Fine.
What's the issue with the doorpost? Not visible? The one mezuzah?
What? Oh, the one inside? It's not b'shorecha. I think that's what they say. We'll see soon. Also, such a svara.
They have mezuzahs that are in the doorpost.
Oh, so we're going to talk a little bit about it also. How much in? What's mutter? What's not?
A lot of the buildings used to actually dig out channel into the doorpost and put it inset it.
Inset, but you could see it at least. But you could see it.
But it would stop people from ripping them off, going
Where you have aluminium
Or-
frames,
Yeah, you have to go inside.
so you also.
We're going to see a bunch of things today that inside the door is not a problem unless it's buried a tefach or whatever. Yeah.
That's a recommended way to do it. Aluminium
Especially,
frames.
I know in America, the people collecting money, all they do is they go down the block, they look which house has a mezuzah. If you want an anti-schnorr thing, you recess it and nobody will see it. They'll think you're a Goyish house. Fine. So now the Gemara asks a kasha on just on this concept of going into the Beis Medrash, that little door that he had coming in from his house, going into the Beis Medrash, didn't have a mezuzah. The Gemara asks Rav Huna, when he used to go into the Beis Medrash, I'll be Rav Huna l'bei midrashav, have a mezuzah. How come Rav Huna had a mezuzah and Rebbe said you don't need a mezuzah? Ahu rogel have. Rav Huna's door was a door that a lot of people used. And Memela, once most people used that door, so it became the main door, and it's mechuyev in a mezuzah dam Rav Yehuda Amarav mezuzah haleich acher harogil. Now, what? That's what it says. Not rogil, you don't have to. And if you do something that you don't have to, as Taisa says over here, your head yoit. I'll go upon him. Now, what's the halacha in a Beis Medrash? Interesting. I didn't realize this. I know a lot of people donate mezuzahs to Bati Midrashim. It's a big covet. Machlokes, if you even need a mezuzah in a Beis Medrash, it could be it's not Beisecha. You don't need. Over here, it seems like Rashi says you don't need. Rebbe went into Beis Medrash. You don't need a mezuzah. But I saw a very interesting Maram in Rothenburg. It was a Rishon before the Rosh's time. The Rosh brings him that the Maram in Rothenburg held like Rashi. You don't need a mezuzah in Beis Medrash, and he didn't put a mezuzah in Beis Medrash. He says only for Rogel. Yeah. You're right. According to that, yeah.
Every Beis Medrash has
Yeah.
a door that everybody uses.
Rabbi Isai, here's Ari Grun. You missed it. I said Yishakayach to. I said over before you came, Chaim. Yishakayach to Moshe Ehrenfeld for coming up with the idea, and you were present there, and Chaim was present there. So I'll say it again. Shkoyach and Hakar Satoiv to Moshe. Akaponim, yeah, you're right. From here it's mashma like that.
Does it depend on whether
But I just want to tell you this interesting what?
Does it depend whether you fall asleep when you ask Rosh?
Oh, so the Maram Rothenburg writes that he didn't put a mezuzah up on his Beis Medrash, and every time he took a nap in the Beis Medrash, he was bothered by ruchos. And once he put the mezuzah up, he says, that's it finished, it went away.
Then they had a good slow.
Goodbye. Huh? What? It's like Beisecha. Fine. Zog Gemara Amar Rav Zeir Amar Rav Masna Amar Shmuel. Mitzvah lahanicha betchilas shlish ha'elyon. Where do you place the mezuzah? Says Rashi, you measure your door 2/3 from the bottom, and at that point, 2/3 from the bottom, that's where you could start putting your mezuzah. Rav Huna says no, you can put the mezuzah anywhere on the doorpost as long as it's a tefach away from the ground and a tefach away from the top of the jam. This is like Rav Huna Shita. What comes immediately after the parsha of tefillin in Shema that we say every day? Uchsaftom, mezuzah. So mak shira begoiva av ksiva begoiva. Interesting that Rashi says that this Gemara is referring to the tefillin shorosh, even though kshartom is on tefillin shel yad. But since I guess Rashi means that that's the closest to the mezuzah. The tefillin shorosh is the closest to the mezuzah, and that's also the highest part. So Rashi learns that it has to be on the high part of the other way to learn is it's tefillin shel yad, and still tefillin shel yad is like 2/3 up. Why Rashi didn't learn like that? Mistama, I don't know. I didn't see anybody talk about it, but I'm thinking because if you want to make that connection between tefillin and mezuzah, then you have to jump to tefillin shorosh. That's the closest one. Akoparim, you see from the pasuk that where do you put the mezuzah? Begoiva, you can't go all the way down to the bottom of tefach from the ground. Makshir begoiva, avksiv begoiva. Bishleim Rav Huna, Huda Omar, Kirab Yehuda, that it's the whole door. Elul Shmuel, the Omar Kiman. Who does Shmuel go according to? Loi Kirab Yehuda, V'loi Kirab Yosi, that says it has to be close to the ceiling. Omar Rav Huna b'Rav Nosan, La'olam Kirab Yosi. Umay Tchila Shlisha Elyon de Ka'omar, what does it mean? You start by the top third. La'archiko, that it means that you go close to the ceiling, but you could go all the way down to 1/3 down. And that's basically what we do today. We measure, we put the mezuzah 1/3, I guess, you measure 2/3 up, and that's where you start putting your mezuzah. Omar Rava, mitzvah la'anicha b'tevach hasomach l'shus harabim. If you have a wider doorway, especially in the olden days, that's how they had these very wide brick doorways. So where do you put your mezuzah? You can put it closer to your house, or you can put it closer to the street. You put it closer to the street. My time, 2 reasons. As you're coming from the street in, you hit the mezuzah first. It's a question of shmira. The more shmira you have, the closer is the more mezuzah your house has. In other words, you should have shmir in those few tfachim or whatever the width of that doorway. Does anybody recognize this Gemara, this lashon? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not like a regular king. The king is inside; he has all his guards on the outside. HaKadosh Baruch Hu watches us. No? Anybody? Where's this Gemara from? Who? Very good. Yeah. Onkelos, Avodah Zarah Daf Yud Aleph says these words. This is how he got. This is how he got the when they came to grab him. He said, do you know what this thing is? And they said, no. He said, this is called a mezuzah. We're not like your king. Our king watches us. And they became gerim. He used the end of this pasuk. He used Hashem Yishmor Tzeischa, but it's the end. It's the following psukim in this capital. Zog the Gemara Dorish Rav Yosef Berei Rava Mishmei Rava. Hemik lo tefach psula. So this is what you were saying in England or wherever. If you dig into the doorpost, a full tefach, it's possible. Why? Because they say it's not considered bisharecha. It's not in your doorpost already. It's already in the wall of the house. Leima misayele. I have a raya. It says inicho bapatzin oy shetolo leo malbim. If you stuck it deep into the doorpost or you covered it with a brick, im yeshom tefach tzorich mezuzah acheres. If it's deep inside a full tefach, you need another mezuzah. Im lav eni tzorich mezuzah acheres. So it seems like a raya to Rava. that once it's deep, if it's buried, a tefach, you need another mezuzah. Says the Gemara, it's not a raya. Kitanyahi, bePesach she'achoyrei hadeles. Unbelievable. Don't knock yourself out, Chaim. This is a different achoyrei hadeles than we were talking about yesterday. This I took from the Art Scroll. It's a little bit better than the Mesiftas. Basically, you have two doors on the corner. So, if you didn't have this guy smack in the corner, it wouldn't be a shayla. If you put a mezuzah right over here where it says mezuzah, that mezuzah on the right side would be a good mezuzah for the whole corner, right? You have stores like that sometimes, especially in Chicago. You have like in the corner, you have like an entrance kind of on both. But what happens if this beam in the center is a tefach wide? So if it's a tefach wide, now it just separated the two doorways and they became two. One mezuzah over here, it doesn't work for both doorways. And on that the Gemara is saying that if you added a malbein, if you added a brick, and it just became, because of the brick, it became a tefach, that's what it means, achoyrei hadeles. This mezuzah on the right side won't be good enough if you add a brick and you make it more than a tefach. That's simple. With the picture it's simple. If you want to read it, it takes about 3 minutes to get through the description. There's another door next to the doorway. How could that be that it's coming to tell me this case? We have that case already. It says if there's a beam in between the two doors that's a tefach, it requires another mezuzah. Says first it says the halacha, and then it explains it in great detail, like the Art Scroll. So the second one is not a repetition, it's just an explanation of the first. Tano hemid lo malbin shekonim. You know, on Sukkot we use, some of us use bamboo, especially in the olden days in New York, bamboo. So if a guy had a doorway made out of these bamboo, these reeds, these circular, what are they called? I don't know what they're called. Reeds. So now, I'm not sure what the big chiddush is. You could cut open a gap in one of the reeds and insert your mezuzah inside, and it's as if it's in the doorway.
There's like notches.
Oh, right.
Down.
So
It would be.
If it fell all the way down to the bottom, it would be a problem. It would hit the ground. So he's saying that's the chiddush.
So even if it doesn't fall down, but it's not being held, you need the notches in the bamboo.
Because it's hollow, but since the bamboo does have shelves, so to speak, every 2 feet is another shelf. So mainly it's okay. Zok Rav Schomburg. That's the chiddush here.
Even though it's in the post, but it's not a tefach, it's okay.
I mean, that we learned. I'm saying, based on what we learned, what's the chiddush? That's what I'm asking. Is it any different than chaytech hanach in a regular door post? Because it's konim, it's different. So he's saying it is a little different because it's so hollow that you think that you lost the mezuzah basically. You put a notch, you made a notch, you put the mezuzah, now you don't know where it is. So he's telling you, don't think it fell all the way down to the ground and it's a tefach to the ground. It stops somewhere halfway and you're good in terms of.
If you stick it with sellotape, it's no good. It's not permanent. Yeah. It needs to be in a way that it's going to be permanent.
What'd you say? How many minutes? For real? Is this fake? Listen, I'm not. I came prepared today. I'm not going to fall for your 15 minutes. He tells me 5 minutes. Ay. Okay. Zog the Gemara. So you cut out a hole and you put it in there. Maybe this is the chiddush. This is what we were discussing before. This is the sugi of tasav v'lo menachos. It's a hard job to cut the reed and it's not going to move. So you put it on a table saw, you cut it out, you put the mezuzah in, and then you bring it ready made. With the mezuzah, you put it in the doorway. Oh, that's a problem. Tasav v'lo menachos. Chotach v'niach v'lo b'soifim et psulo tasav v'lo menachos. V'amarovo hane pische shimoi durim min mezuzah. Shimoi could mean a lashon of kilkul. It's ruined. It's a ruined door. It's potter min mezuzah. What does it mean? My pischa shimoi, pligi barav richumi v'abi yoisi, chadom adeleslu tikro, v'chadom adeleslu shekoifei. So for this also, there's two pictures in the Mesifta. If you have a Mesifta, you're lucky. But here are the pictures. One means that it doesn't have a nice, it's jagged. It looks like bricks. So if it looks like bricks, it's a problem. You don't put a mezuzah. This is not a nice doorway. If you had a guy come with a wet saw and make a nice opening, even though l'chayr it might be an issue because it doesn't have a doorpost, but since it has a nice cutout of a door, that's enough for mezuzah. This one has two problems. It doesn't have a doorpost and it doesn't have a nice cutout. The other pshat is, what?
Jerusalem stone arch has Jerusalem stone. It's jagged.
Oh, nice and jagged juice. So maybe that is a nice that's a doorway. This does not look like a doorway. And then the other thing the Gemara says is that it doesn't have a ceiling. So Rashi says one pshat, a pasha doesn't have a ceiling. It doesn't have a roof. Taisus doesn't understand. What do you mean it doesn't have a roof? If you have a doorway into a chutzner that doesn't have a roof, you chayiv a mezuzah. What does a roof have to do with the mezuzah? So therefore they learn the pshat is like this, that the top part of the doorway is jagged. Not the side, but the top. And that also creates an issue for mezuzah.
There was nothing there would be hard mezuzah?
If it was nothing, no. Then it's not a doorway.
No, the Tosis says it is.
No, he says, no. If there's a doorway but no roof, you have to have a doorway. Yeah. You don't need a door, you need a doorway, you need a mashkoif. No, he's asking if there's no mashkoif on top at all. I don't think you need a mezuzah for that. Two walls, just two posts without a top, l'chayr not. You need a tzurus pesach.
To answer Rashi that has got a roof, a kotzah is not supposed to have a roof, but a house is supposed to have a roof. So you got
Who says that answer? He brings it down. You hear what he's saying? He's saying that the kasha that Taisus has in Rashi, there's an answer that a chutzner doesn't need a roof. That's the derech, not to have a roof. But a house that doesn't have a roof is not considered a house. And Miller, Rashi holds chutzner does need a mezuzah because it doesn't need even without a roof. A chutzner never has a roof. Which chutzner has a roof? Omer Rabbi Rashid Omer Rav Chisda Ach Sadro Pturo Min HaMezuzah Lefi She'ein Lo Petzimim. I'm not sure if somebody has a good muscle of today, I'm not even sure, in front of the pizza shop, they have 3 walls, but it's open to the street. You have the fourth wall is not there because they want air, they want light to come in. So to put a mezuzah on that fourth wall that's open to the street, you don't have to put a mezuzah, it's an aksadra. What? An entryway to an office?
a corridor. Like this.
A corridor.
You've just got straight walls.
Yeah.
You've got walls on each side.
But I'm trying to think of visualize something that doesn't have a fourth wall, that we all are familiar with a fourth. Amir Peset?
No, pass it. You're in your house.
Then you're on the airport, you're coming out, there's a big mezuzah, but there's no wall.
Where?
When you're leaving, when you just arrived, you gotta go to baggage pickup. You're going to, customs, right. There's a big mezuzah, there's no wall, there's a big mezuzah.
Where's the wall? What do you mean there's no wall? But eventually there's a wall, there's 4 walls in that building, no? I'm talking about, look at that. Let's say that pizza shop in the Merkaz that has, they took that polypach. It has the back wall and 2 walls on the side. Fine. Right. Like a sukkah, basically a sukkah that's open. Takadoni to mezuzah. So the reason the Gemara says this is because it doesn't have the side post. It doesn't have side post. But if it has posts, you chayiv. Why? Those posts are there to hold up the ceiling. They're not there for a doorway. They're not a tzurus pesach. You're right. Even if it does have side posts, it's still pater shein asuyna lechizik latikro. Omar Abaye, and Abaye says, Chazina lehu l'spelidi Split is an Echsadra, the Bei Mar. Mar is my Rebbe who was Rabba. I saw the Rabba had an Echsadra that had 3 walls, the 4th wall was open. This looked Ptsimi, and it had the side post. Veles lo mezuzta. And it didn't have a mezuzah. Why? Because the Ptsimi was there to hold up the roof. It wasn't there as a doorway, and Memela, it's not Chai b'mezuzah. Kosovar, l'chizuk tikru Davidi, meisvei. So they asked the Kasha on Abaya. It says Beis Shar. Beis Shar would be like a guardhouse. A little tiny, you know those little 3x3s that the guard never sits there in the heat. They put a little, they have one over here by Torah Shalom, yeah? A guardhouse. Achsadra, that's our sugya, 3 walls, the 4th wall is open. Umirpeses. Mirpeses, I think, is similar to what they have in America, like in a motel. You know, you go up to the 2nd floor, and then you have this long corridor, and you have doors open to it, but it's completely open to the elements. Mirpeset. Chayav b'mezuzah, yichai b'mezuzah. Both Rashi and Tosfos say yichai b'mezuzah midrabanan, because there's another brayso that says you're not chayav at all. So it's midrabanan. So what do we do? What?
Elevators, for example.
Elevators, what? Is a Beis Shar? It's a moving Beis Shar. This mamish has no kfiyas at all.
Big question where to put the mezuzah.
And we don't. Who puts a mezuzah? People put a mezuzah on a. Huh. Okay. It would be interesting if you put it on the actual moving door as it moved.
There's 3 places.
Well, so Akoponim, we have a problem. Because it says over here that Echsadra does require mezuzah, and we just learned that Echsadra doesn't require mezuzah. What do we do? It says the Gemara b'Echsadra de Beirav. This is an Echsadra of a school, of children in the school, and that's a different type of Echsadra. This is an Echsadra that actually has 4 walls, just the 4th wall doesn't go all the way up to the ceiling. But it's more of a room. Since it's more of a room, it has 4 walls, it requires a mezuzah. As the Gemara, Echsadra Beirav, Kindruna, Mal Yisuhu, it's like a regular room. What's the chiddush? Of course it needs a mezuzah. Says the Gemara, B'Echsadra, Rem Yosa. The Bach flips this around because in Baba Basra, Rashi reverses his explanation of these words. Agapanim, one of these rooms, over here Rashi says Rem Yosa is a Roman room. It's completely made out of glass, like a nice enclosed mirpeset, some people have. So it's not really a room. And Memela, it doesn't require mezuzah. Omer Rachma Omer Rav Yehuda, Beyar Zikei Chayiv B'Shtei Mezuzos. Zikei needs 2 mezuzahs. My Beyar Zikei, Omer Rav Papa, Sovim Shmei Rav, Beis Shar, Hapasuach Lechotzer, Ubotim Psuchim LeBeis Shar. Here's a picture, sort of, maybe. It's not really this picture, minus, let's say, minus this doorway. But you have a Beis Shar, this is where the guard is. This is a fancy house. He has security. So he has a little Beis Shar over here. It opens up to the Gina, and it opens up to the house. So it requires 2 mezuzahs. You need one going into the Beis Shar and one going into the house. Tanu Rabbanon, Beis Shar, Habasuach Legino, or the Kitoinis. Kitoinis is a small room. Here's the other picture. Here's a Kitoinis. You have a Beis Shar leading into Kitoinis, which is in a garden. So we have a big machlokes here. Rabbi Yossi Oimer, Nidon Kitoinis. You go basa this small room, and Memela what? A Kitoinis is chayiv b'mezuzah, so the Beis Shar also needs a mezuzah. V'chachomim oimrim, Nidon ke Beis Shar. It says on the side here, like the ear, ka'avir. It says over here. And Memela, since it's like the avir, you look at the avir and the gina. Avir doesn't need a mezuzah, and you go. Rabbi Shmuel, the Amrit Arvayu, Megina Labayis. This is interesting. We're going to go back to this halacha that we learned over here. When you have a shayla, where do you put a mezuzah? You have 2 equal rooms. You don't have an exit or an entrance. They're both equal. What did we learn earlier? That we base it on where the hinges. And if the hinge is inside one of the rooms, that room is considered the bias, and you're going into that room. So Memela, the same thing over here. If you have a shaila between a Beis Shar and a Kitonis, what do? You look at the hinge. Megina lebayis kuliyam eloi pligi dechayav. If the hinge is inside the house, so just like we said before, we go base it on the hinge. So Memela, where's the hinge inside the house? A house is chayav b'mezuzah. So this Beis Shar is also chayav b'mezuzah. So everybody would agree there would be no machlokes according to this shita. In a second, we're going to see that this is the machlokes. But according to him, Rav and Shmuel hold there's no machlokes where it's obvious that the hinge is going into the house and has a loch like the house. My time bil the bayisi.
Which doorpost? The doorpost between
The house and the Ketonis and the Beis Shar, I would think.
the inner door?
That's how I thought. I don't know. You saying not? Maybe I'm saying shtus and that's why I went off now.
It's low power one.
Oh. What does it say by you? What did we say before about Beis Shar? I don't know, it wasn't so... What? Basically, we have to look into it.
It's talking about two doors. It says two doors.
Both doors are potter. Both doors are chayiv. Okay? Rabbi Shmuel Dam Tavayu Megina lebayis kuliyam alei pligi dechayiv my time be the bayisi. The hinge proves to us what this is for. It's an entrance into the house. So Mela, even I would say even that doorway. Ki pligim lebayis legino. The whole machlokes is if the hinge is facing the garden. Mar sovar kitonis ikir or mar sovar gini ikir. It's very nice. What's the pshat? When do I say? Rabbi said, listen, this is a beautiful zach. When do I say that a hinge proves to me where I'm going? Is when I have two equals. This room is no better than this room. They're both equal. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a kitonis and a shvacha guard room. Over here, there's always something that's an ikr. They're not equal. And memela, I always have to go. I can't use this svara of the hinge, says the Gemara. Mar sova kitonis ikr, mar sova gini ikr. The one who says kitonis ikr is because the hinge can't prove to me anything when they're not equal. So now it's a reverse shita. Rabbi and Rav Yosef say that everybody agrees when it goes from the house to the gina that it's potter because it's going to the gina. My time on pischa the ginu. He says there is a machlokes even if the hinge is in the house. Mar sovar bia the bayisu, mar sovar kula daito the ginu davido. It's just a shayla if he did it for the garden. Says the Gemara by Verova Avdi Kirabe Rav Yosef that if the hinge is in the gina it's potter. Rav Ashi Rav Shmuel l'chumra, then no matter what it's chayiv b'mezuzah. V'hilchase Rav Shmuel l'chumra. Have a great day. Hakos hatoiv. זה באמת. בדיוק 7 חודשים. You hit me?
What do you do about a door
Yeah.
where it's